Hello everyone and welcome to GTA Online Racing episode 37. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about the Nonchalant Dominance GTA Online Multi-Class Endurance Championship. Now this is an event that's been organised within my crew and on my crew forums. If you are interested in joining my crew and joining in events like this, you can do so. There's a link down below, but make sure to join the forums as well because that's where these events are all organised. But basically this is a multi-class endurance championship where I'm going to be live streaming two endurance races every single week. Every Sunday I'm going to be live streaming for 4 hours from now on. So I'll explain a little bit more about the championship and what it's all about in a short while, but I'll just talk a little bit more about what a multi-class race is. So I've covered multi-class racing before. I think it was episode 27 of this series. I will link it down in the description and at the end of the video as well. But basically the idea of a multi-class race is that there are, say, 16 people in a race. 8 of them have fast cars, 8 of them have slow cars, and you're only racing against people in your class. So if you're in one of the quicker cars, you're only racing against people in the quicker cars as well. So that's the idea of a multi-class race, and you know, it doesn't necessarily, in a normal GTA Online race, for example, it might only be 5 or 6 laps, but we are doing it in an endurance format, so each race is going to last 1 hour in total. So obviously, as you can imagine, the faster cars will get round and lap the slower cars quite a lot, and that's all part of the experience, that's all part of the event, is trying to work through the traffic whilst also racing against people in your own class. So as I say, we have done this before, we have done endurance races before, but now we're putting them into a championship format. So basically there's a link to a spreadsheet down in the description, and it's got all the information that you might need for this. I will be explaining more about it now, but if you want to bookmark that spreadsheet or whatever, all the information is going to be in there. You know, it has all the race times, the race length, the calendar for the races, all of the standings, the point standings and things like that. All of that is in that spreadsheet, so go down, check the description, have a look at that. So basically what it's going to be like basically is that every Sunday on Twitch I'll start streaming at about 6 o'clock UK time, 6 PM, which is around, you know, I think it's like 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock, something like that in the US, depending on where you are, and it'll be 7, 8 o'clock in Europe. So that's when I'll start streaming, and that's when I'll be showing the Xbox 360 version of the race. Then we'll move on at 8 o'clock to the PS3 version of the race. So for basically 4 hours, I'll be constantly streaming on Twitch, participating in 2 endurance races. And yeah, that's basically what I'll be doing every single Sunday from this point on. The first race is the 28th of September, that's this Sunday, and then every single Sunday after that, it will be at exactly the same time, doing exactly the same thing. So what's the format of this championship? Well, basically we have 8 teams in each event. So they are sort of modelled off the GTA Online companies. So companies within GTA 5, for example, one of my teams is Ron Racing. There's also, you know, Trevor Phillips Industries, the FIB, things like that. Each team has a different sponsor, and all of their cars are kitted out to look similar to that. So for example, the Ron Racing team, because Ron are primarily blue and orange, the cars that I have will be blue and orange. You know, the FIB team I think are all completely black. You know, things like that. That is the basis for the team's aspect of it. And then in each team there will be 2 members, 2 single drivers. Now one of those drivers will race in GT1 and one of those drivers will race in GT2. Now the GT1 cars are all quicker than the GT2 cars. So basically we'll have 8 teams with 2 people in each, one racing in GT1, one racing in GT2, which means that we'll have every single race 8 drivers racing GT1 and 8 drivers racing GT2. Now the GT1 cars are often sort of the quickest cars in their class, so they're a fair few seconds per lap quicker than the GT2 cars. As an example, the first race on the 28th of September will be on the North Loop, and we'll be using sedans. So the GT1 car for the sedans will be the Shafter, and the GT2 car will be the Premier. And you know, going further on, we've got in GT1 for the North Loop, the very last race in sports cars, we've got the Massacro as the GT1 car and the Schwarzer as the GT2 car. So basically we've got 7 different races, a different class of car in each one, so it goes sedans, coupes, compacts, supers, SUVs, muscle and then sports, And then in those classes we also have a fast car and a slow car, GT1 and GT2. Now there will be different championships for GT1 and GT2, so the drivers are only racing against the people in their own class, and they will be racing in the same class every single week. The GT2 class on the Xbox 360 is definitely one to watch because that is really stacked with a lot of really good drivers. But yeah, it should be interesting to see how that all turns out. So we're going to have a GT1 championship and a GT2 championship for individual drivers. And we'll also have a teams championship as well. So the amount of points that you get in the race for each team will go towards your team points, and that will be sort of all worked out at the end of the season. Again, all of the information is in that spreadsheet. All of the championship standings will all be in that spreadsheet as well as we go through, and I will continue to link that in various videos and on Twitch and things like that. So that's definitely the place to go to see all of this information. So yeah, basically we've got all sorts of different teams, 16 players in each race, but you're only racing against 8 of them. On the Xbox 360 I'm racing in GT1, so I'll be racing in the faster cars, and on the PS3 I'll be racing in GT2. So if you are watching the event on Twitch, you will be able to see it from both different perspectives. You'll be able to see what it's like in the faster cars and having to overtake the slower traffic, and see what it's like in the slower cars and having to make sure to stay out of the way of the faster traffic coming round, whilst also racing against the people in your class. So yeah, that's basically it. You know, all of the information is in that spreadsheet down below. Check that out, have a look. If it's something that you're interested in, follow me on Twitch, or at least, you know, just come to the event on Twitch. It'll be 6 o'clock UK time. I'll put up a video every single time, and you can just watch the whole event. It should be really interesting to see what happens across the entire event and across the entire championship as well. You know, we've done these endurance races before, but never in a championship format. So I hope to see you all there on this coming Sunday. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you next time. And I wanted to have a different aspect to it, where it's multi-class racing. So as you can see, in all of these teams we have one Elegy and one Penumbra.